Hello once again everyone, Original Blood Ace here again. This time we are discussing Gamestop a bit. There's 3 stories I wish to cover in this video. So first up, and by the way none of these stories are good, but first up here is a credit card for GameStop. They have their own credit card. Now, first of all, before we actually get into this, I want to say, I know so many people complain about GameStop and all that stuff and say all this stuff that's horrible about them. For the most part, it's true. But I just wanted to clarify that for me personally, I've never actually really had any issues with GameStop or EB Games, since it flips-flops back and forth here in Canada. But anyway, their own credit card. As anyone who knows me knows, I'm not really a big fan of credit cards to begin with. They're good if you need money in an emergency, but other than that, having a credit card can tempt you to spend money you don't have, causing you to get fucked over and put yourself in debt, and you don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that. But now, imagine having debt to GameStop, where you're not even buying anything, but you still have to pay them. That's what could happen with this if you get one of these horrible credit cards. And the interest rate is 27%. Now, compared to other stores like Best Buy and whatnot, it's actually not, much different. But imagine this. If you bought, say, a PS4, well, actually maybe I'll say an Xbox One, because that's still $400 in Canada. Well, the PS4 was $450. But say you bought an Xbox One for $400, the connectless one, here in Canada, on that credit card. And the way this works is every 25 days you get hit with the interest that you don't pay it fully off. So you would have to pay just over like $100 with the tax or whatever, probably, or roughly $100 anyway, every 25 days to GameStop in tax, or not in tax, in interest, if you didn't just pay it off right away within 25 days. Do you have any idea how retarded that is? And of course they're going to, really try and push people at some GameStops, the employees that is, they're going to be pestering you and saying, hey, you want to get a credit card? If they ask you, say no. I'm going to say right now, say no. Or say something like, tell me this, why don't you show me that you have one yourself? Because then you got them in a little, you expose them, because they're not going to want one themselves, because they know that it's a scam and it's just a fucking ripoff. So I'm going to tell you right now, do not get this. It will only fuck you up, and it will only make you miserable. Is there anything else for me to talk about on this particular subject? Let me just see here. Oh yeah, and if you're a power-up member, you automatically qualify. Hooray! Whoop-de-fucking-do. I mean, I don't even have them. I'm not even a GameStop or EB Games, whatever, pro member or game member or whatever the fuck you call that, because I just don't care. But yeah, 26.99% interest. It's just ridiculous. I can't remember the exact numbers. It was something like, if you were to buy, what the fuck was it? One game, and then make the very bare minimum payments to pay that back over time with the interest, that one game using that credit card would cost you like $900 for a year, extra money that you would owe them. So it's just, it's just, you don't want anything to do with it. Now, let's go to the second story here. GameStop now fingerprinting people while trading in games, at least in Philadelphia. There's one other place, I think, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this happening in other places. So apparently this started in Philadelphia, where if you were trading in games, not only do you have to give ID to prove that you are you, that you didn't steal those games and trying to make a few pennies off of it, because we all know GameStop gives you hardly any crap, or hardly any credit for it. They'll be like, oh yeah, we'll buy your $30 game for like $4, if that, and then we'll try and sell it ourselves for $60. But, which that should be a crime, basically. But either way, now they want to fingerprint you to prove you're you. It's like, hello, well, this is not CSI, this is not, you don't need a criminal database at freaking GameStop. You sell games, that's it. I mean, of course, now they're getting more into, smartphone crap and iPad crap and all that shit. But either way, ridiculous. Here's a little update, apparently, from the beginning of July, so a month ago. It's a process that we've recently implemented starting in early July in Philadelphia area stores at the request of the Philadelphia Police Department. Apparently, I guess the police there have been finding a lot of people stealing games or something, like, I don't know. It's a practice we've also put into place in other parts of the U.S. depending on local or statewide second-hand dealer or pawnbroker laws. However, at this time, we are reviewing the process to determine if it's one that should be continued in Philadelphia. So, at least there's a possibility it could go. But at the same time, we really, really do not need fingerprint scanning. And if you ever go to a GameStop that asks for your fingerprint scanning, I don't care if you trade in games or not. If they ask you for any reason, just turn around and walk out. Just be like, fuck you, I'll buy my game somewhere else. This is retarded, this is ridiculous, and it's just straight unacceptable. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Well, I think we should get on to our third story now. GameStop plans to make pre-orders even worse. Now, I don't know how old this one was. Actually, July 8th, I guess. Ignore the Darth Vader picture there. But apparently, I actually think I talked about this before, where GameStop was talking about being more involved with DLC. Now, apparently what that more likely means is that they want to basically make it so even actual on-disc content, like actual parts of the actual game you would buy yourself, not add-on content, not actual DLC, like, for example, the campaign mode, the single-player mode, could be GameStop exclusive, so where you would, if you want to buy, say, Halo 5, you have to buy the game at GameStop in order to get the campaign on there. That they would make that deal with the developers. And that's just so stupid, where what kind of developer would allow themselves to say, okay, well, you're a big company, so let's give you special treatment. Let's give you all the content of our game and give every other store, like whether it was a Best Buy or a Future Shop like here in Canada, or a Walmart or whatever. But if you buy our games at those stores, you're only going to spend $60, but you're only going to get like maybe one map, maybe a replay mode, and that's it. You don't get any campaign, you don't get any multiplayer, and it'd be like, what the fuck? So GameStop wants to try to make even physical copies of the games themselves. They could possibly make it so that they're the only store that's allowed to sell physical games. And this is because of issues where, like they're really trying to, it's like Google, where they're just trying to expand and take over everything. And the whole digital games thing being an issue, more people going digital, which means that hurts GameStop, so they're like, well, we want people to only be able to buy games here. Again, like I said, I personally have never really had much issues with GameStop, but now some people will argue that pre-ordering is kind of a waste, kind of a false sense of, what's the word, hype? I don't know. Basically, it's to get people, if people think that, or it's to fool people into thinking there's not going to be enough games, so they guarantee getting a sale at their store instead of getting it somewhere else. But now I do pre-order stuff, not necessarily because I'm concerned that they're going to be running out of copies. Now that happens very rarely. For example, Smash Bros would probably be a game you would want to pre-order, and there's been more games in the past that are more, oh, we've run out of those. Now, namely, this means special editions or limited editions are ones that you want to pre-order. But either way, I pre-order games for the main reason of, if I pre-order it and I can have it fully paid off, then I don't have to worry about it anymore. Then I get called the day before it comes out, and then I can go pick it up, and I don't need to worry about it. I like to do all the math about, finances and whatever. I plan out, if there's a game I want, I plan out when it, like I see when it comes out, and then I plan out paying on it, or paying it off at this point in time, and just so I can organize my money. But because if like 4 or 5 games comes out and then I go in and pay at that time, I'm not sure, if I don't do the math and the resources and all that stuff, or planning out my resources, then I'm not sure financially how my money is going to look. Anyway, I don't need to babble on about that. Point is, GameStop is trying to do things that they really don't need to be doing. Does it say anything else here that I need to say? Let's see here. GameStop said it's accurate. GameStop says we are working with our development partners to build in longer lead time. GameStop public relations spokesperson Jackie Smith told GamesBeat, and we are working with them to get both physical and digital exclusives for our customers. Why? You're a store. You have competition against other stores. That's the whole point of having a market. You can't be the only fucking company that sells stuff. I don't know. GameStop, I should say. Don't know what you're doing, but I don't need to babble on anymore. Those are the 3 stories that I wanted to go over. So I'm Original Blood Ace. As always, stay tuned. More videos coming soon, as always.